Let's get this show on. Pop, pop. Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. Let's wait for a few minutes to make sure everything is running as it should. Oh wow, YouTube is really stepping up their game. That's dope. Because you can pause ads. Yeah, on the live stream. Good evening, Nico. We're gonna wait for a few minutes for everybody to get in here. I'm gonna wait for you to get over here too, Princess. I feel sorry for the people that are gonna be watching on YouTube. I'm gonna run a 10-minute ad every 5 minutes. Yeah, you can sit right there. That's fine. I mean, it's cropped so that it's just the green screen behind me. Like, even if you were behind the green screen, and you know. Yes, I did. Welcome in, everybody. If anyone knows where the Sumo Kyokai is going to be streaming the ceremony, the ring ceremony that they usually do, it's not here. Like, usually they do that, you know, before every Basho, and we watch that. See, it's right here, the ring purifying ceremony, but they don't have it for this one for some reason. Streamed 2 months ago. They don't have this one. I don't know why. It does start tomorrow, right? Yeah. Today's... Yeah, it starts tomorrow. I don't know where it is. If anyone has a link to that, let me know. If they are going to have a link to that. Otherwise, later in the stream, we're going to watch a bunch of other training videos. But welcome back, everybody, to the preview show, where first we're going to be going over my Guess the Banzuke and how well I did indeed guess the Banzuke. Then I wanted to add another thing to it and actually kind of go over my video that I made a few days, or rather posted a few days ago, where we kind of discussed some of the hot new talents coming up the Banzuke, who I would like to look out for, and you know, see who's doing well, who's not doing well, and everything like that. And then of course, even after that, play Kachi Clash, which I did terribly last time. So welcome. It looks like my Twitch chat is messed up a little bit, so let me fix that. And then once I fix that, Sumo. There we go. Okay. Now I can see it on my little browser here. And that's another thing that we use this day 042 is figuring out the everything, making sure everything is okay. I also have other news. I just got a new laptop, so we have hopefully less issues when it comes to streaming the sumo here, because I know sometimes there is the I know sometimes it's like the runtime errors and things like that, but I did just get a new laptop. It's like a $250 HP with 4 gigabytes of RAM and all the lower specs. It was $250. It's been running fine. I have the Mahjong channel on, and you know, on Chrome, it's like every hour or two, it's like, we've run out of memory. So hopefully that doesn't happen on Firefox. It's been running for like the past 3 hours and no issues, a bit of lag here or there. So hopefully no more issues when it comes to the Sumo laptop. And that, I think, is it for all the new stuff. Let's actually get into the Guess the Banzuke, what the Banzuke looks like. Of course, we knew what the very top of the Banzuke was going to look like, with all of these guys getting, you know, put where they're supposed to be. Daisho is the new Sekiwake 1 East, or rather, has been Sekiwake 1 East with Wakamoto Haru and Kotonowaka right under them because they had the same records. And one thing that I love pointing out is the fact that Kotonowaka is, for all intents and purposes, on a 2-year-long Kachikoshi streak starting back in January of 2022. I like to put a massive asterisk on this one in July of 2022 when there were a lot of COVID outbreaks and he wasn't able to compete for 5 matches, going in at 7-3. So for all intents and purposes, Kotonowaka is on a 2-year-long Kachikoshi streak. He got 11 wins to get to Sekiwake in the first place, and even his growth to Sekiwake, it's 9-6 at that rank. He's looking amazing. He's looking fantastic. I love this kid, and I want to see him succeed. But anyway, back to my guesses. My guesses were middle of the pack. Once again, we got 49 points. I know a lot of that probably came in at the bottom, and I already kind of saw one of the things I did mess up was Abi and Hokutofuji. I didn't expect Abi to leapfrog Hokutofuji, but, I missed those ones. I'm just going to highlight them yellow. I missed those ones by 1/2 a point. That's really annoying. And then I also didn't expect Uda to leapfrog Shodai as well. So in this situation, the 9 and 6s jumped up over the 8 and 7s, even though Uda was a rank and a half lower. He leapfrogged Shodai. Hokutofuji, or Abi, a rank lower, leapfrogs Hokutofuji. I did not expect that kind of thing. And thank you for the subscription, Mississippi Cajun. I don't know why my Streamlabs alerts are not going off, or if they have been, I haven't heard them go off. That's, you know what? This was a problem at the last thing, too. I know what I have to do. I have to basically just delete it and start it again. I don't know why, but the browser sources have been an issue. What is this called? Alert box. So give me another second to fix this up. All right, someone quickly give me a $200 donation on Twitch so I can test to see if it's working. The chat is also not working, so let me fix that as well. And then I'll fix everything else later tonight, but, the chat and the alert box are the two things that I want to have working. There it is. It's big and ugly and clunky, but that'll do for now. I am hoping Kotonowaka changes his name to Kotozakura. That'd be pretty cool. Whether or not he does that for Ozeki or Yokozuna, we will see. But anyway, Asanoyama, we got the point for that. Yeah, the green is... Was I using green for on target? I forget. Yes, green is on point. Uda, we just completely missed that one. I'm just going to mark it as red. The new key is going to be green equals bullseye, yellow equals half point, red equals way off. So Uda and Shodai, I kind of got robbed on those because I didn't expect them to leapfrog, and I should have gotten, 4 more points than I actually got right there. Because then we get Meisei dead on. That's a little too light. We get Meisei dead on. Actually, Takayasu goes up to Maegashira 3 instead of Maegashira 4 with his 10-5. Now I'm kind of learning a little something. I've been guessing the Banzuke for 2 years now, but now I'm kind of seeing the trend. Even though Takayasu was 2 ranks lower than Gonoyama, he still got put above Gonoyama with his 10-5. So the stronger the winning record, I guess the more they will lean on that person to be the guy to go up. Like, Uda, obviously out of reach. They weren't going to put Takayasu up at Maegashira 1, but to see 10-5 Takayasu, leapfrog Onosho, I can accept that. That's what I had guessing. But to leapfrog Gonoyama as well, I did not expect that at all. So Takayasu, we got way off. That means we also have Gonoyama way off. We did get a half of a point for Tobizaru. I didn't expect, again, with not expecting Takayasu to go that high, Tobizaru would have slotted in perfectly right above that, but we do get a half a point for that. And It is what it is. After that, Nishikigi, again, only a half of a point because Takayasu being up higher pushed things around in a way I didn't expect. So lucky to get a half of a point for Nishikigi. Then back on point with Onosho and Midorifuji. So nice to have those guesses correct. Shonan no Umi and Takanosho actually got 2 half of a points for that. So just a little bit of a swap right there. Same problem with Abi and Hokutofuji. Let's actually take a look at these two. Takanosho 6 and 9, Shonan no Umi 7 and 8. So they did do it in the opposite direction as well, where the stronger losing record got put below this guy at 7 and 8. And if Ryuden was also 7 and 8, I could probably see Takanosho get putting below Ryuden as well. So I have to keep that kind of thing in mind for the next Banzuke, which we'll be discussing in 2 weeks. Shouldn't it be a cakewalk for Wakatakakage this Basho? It definitely should, but you have to consider he might be rusty when it comes to like the live pro sumo coming back. We don't know if it's going to be like an Asanoyama type of comeback where he goes like 6 and 1, 7 and 0, or if it's going to be more of like the Terunofuji type of comeback where he did even drop matches like in the lower third division, you know? So it depends on the state of his body, and I would like to say it's going to be a cakewalk, but we don't really know for sure. Let's see. Continuing on, we have Hokuseiho getting me a bullseye, but Atami Fuji is placed 1 rank lower than I expected, and I actually have as a note here, Atami Fuji above Kin Bozan or below Mitake Yumi. Well, it turns out it was neither of those things. He wasn't below Mitake Yumi. He was above Kin Bozan, though, so I lose out on points on Kin Bozan and Atami Fuji, which is a damn shame. But for Endo, I do get a half of a point. This one, this little area, Maegashira 7 through 8, I don't know if I can fault myself for missing out on these points. It was a close call, a little bit of a coin flip there, because then right next to that, we have Myogiryu, Bullseye, Mitake Yumi. I had him, Myogiryu, I had a rank lower, my bad. So Myogiryu, we completely miss out on. Mitake Yumi, we get a half of a point for. That's a little bit too dark. And then right below that, at Maegashira 10, this is where it really starts hitting the fan in terms of, you know, big misses when it comes to the points. Ryuden and Kotoeko. I had Ryuden at Maegashira 9 and Kotoeko at Maegashira 11. So they both, you know, feeling a little bit of the benefit of, you know, their losing records. Ryuden 6 and 9, or rather Ryuden actually got smacked down a little bit harder, whereas Kotoeko got a little bit saved there. I could definitely see the reasoning why, and those are not yellow, those are red. Sada no Umi, Hira no Umi, I didn't get Sada no Umi, but I did get Hira no Umi, and whether or not that was a lucky break or what, I don't know. But Hira no Umi fell right there. Then we have Oho Tamawashi falling right next to each other as well. And it looks like, you know, starting to make my points back again. Hira no Umi, Oho Tamawashi. If you want to look at their records, 2 and 13, Oho 5 and 10, Hira no Umi only a 6 and 9. So naturally, Tamawashi falls lower, Oho falls lower, and they all fall right next to each other, which I was right in my guesses, right over there. Then we also have Takarafuji and Tsurugisho. I'm getting a lot of points back here, but this is where things start to go wrong. After Tomokaze and Ichi Yamamoto, I had those guesses also completely right. This is where, you know, the very bottom, I had Aoyama staying in. I didn't know whether or not they would, you know, actually keep him up or not. And the Mahjong channel froze. So cool. Looks like I just keep picking up unlucky sumo machines. Who knows? But let's see. Thank you, Kool-Ader, for your Prime subscription. Did it come up in the box? I don't know why that's not working. I'll fix that later after we're done talking here. You saw it but didn't hear it. Okay, maybe I accidentally turned the volume down too much. Yeah, I'll try to fix that later. Having done Guess the Banzuke twice, I can say I am very bad at it. I mean, so am I, but it's fun. Can't find anything on the live stream for the ceremony. That's really weird, because usually they do have that up. But, again, at the bottom here, it's hard to determine where these Judio promotions are going to go and who is going to get the nod. Like, I did have Roga up at Maegashira 15 because I thought, oh, Judio 1, he's just going to get pushed up. But, again, like we said earlier, the higher rank, despite being, or the higher record, despite being a lot lower rank, got the nod. So Tohakuryu is actually at Maegashira 15 East. I had him marked at Maegashira 15 West, so I get a half a point for that. Chura no Umi actually makes it up to Maegashira 15, where I didn't even have him here. So, you know, again, I thought Aoyama might have stayed up, and if he did, maybe I would have moved things around a little bit more. But, you know, Tohakuryu actually, you know, on the other side of it, Chura no Umi makes it up. So I didn't actually have him on there. Roga, I guessed he would be one rank higher, which Tohakuryu got the leapfrog over him. Chura no Umi also got the leapfrog over him, which I wouldn't have expected in the first place because he's Judio 5 with a 10 and 5 compared to Roga's Judio 1 with an 8 and 7. I did not expect Roga to get leapfrogged like that. I did have Nishiki-Fuji in the right spot, though. I don't think anyone would have really had him in the wrong spot. Maegashira 16. He was 5 and 10. Really, he was not going to fall if Aoyama didn't fall, and I had Aoyama not falling. So I kind of lucked out on that guess. And then Kitanawaka, I did have him coming up. I mean, you kind of had to. 8 and 7 from Judio, too. But, you know, again, I didn't have him in the right spot. So that gives me the total score of, what was it, 49? Yeah, 49, which, you know, if I thought about it a little more, you know, I missed 2 points here at Komusubi. I missed 2 points here at Maegashira 6. The rest of it, kind of hard to guess. But then, you know, if I did predict Uda higher, not that I really had him higher, but I did think Gonoyama Nishikigi coin flip, which that would have been wrong. If I put Nishikigi at Maegashira 3, I would have been very wrong, but I would have had the Gonoyama, you know, bullseye right there, so I would have been right on that front. And then, you know, me just not having Takayasu up to Maegashira 3, bumping everybody else down. That's really what it was, you know. And then, of course, me even guessing Atami Fuji above or Kinbozan or below me Takayumi. Obviously not below me Takayumi, but not above, where is he, Kinbozan. So missing out on that one there. I even thought I might be missed out on. So if anything, if I want to be generous to myself, you know, with the hindsight 2020, maybe I get like 56 or 57 points, which, you know, that would almost be top 50, which I don't remember the last time I ever got top 50. I wonder if I can see my actual rank. I know I can check my ranks somehow on Guess the Banzuke, but I don't know how to check that. But yeah, it was fun to guess. I wasn't too far off on a lot of it, which was nice. But, you know, that is the way the cookie crumbles, and I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys match up on those Day 1 matchups, which we will look out for in a little bit. Tamawashi Yusho. I mean, from the very bottom, he has a good chance. Kyushu Press, absent Rikishi, Yokoshuna, Terunofuji, Asanayama, and Haku Oho. Yeah, I did see a Haku Oho is also absent. Terunofuji is absent. Asanoyama is also absent. Thank you very much, Wildly Coyote, for 12 months of subscribing. Yeah, I need to fix my alerts over on the Twitch side. But now I do want to move on into, you know, the lower ends of the Banzuke, the Rikishi, all the way, you know, down here that we want to look out for. And one thing I forgot to mention in my video, you know, talking about some of these guys, Terunofuji, Kotote Bakari, Mudoho, is the fact that Wakatakakage is right there. We're probably going to see Wakatakakage versus Koto Tebakari at some point, and I'm looking forward to that. As far as everything else goes, in terms of, some of these younger guys, you can kind of see name all the way to the left, the people in red. It's all color coded too, so it's technically in alphabetical order from current rank. So Judeo, then Jonidan, which is a little annoying, then Makushita. So I'll just look at Makushita real quick. I did mention, Kiho had to move back down due to his injury for 8 and 3. Sucks to see that. We still do have Tochi Musashi down here too, sitting at Makushita 3 East. Thank you, Darth Silius, for your Twitch subscription. And it's really strange to me that he hasn't made it back up, considering he, was doing really well. I have to wonder if he tweaked something, or somewhere along the way got hurt and has been fighting hurt. Not sure what's been the matter with Tochi Musashi since, even his 7 and 8 from Judeo 7, that was okay, but this entire year has not been his year. Then again, Koto Tebakari, another big name that people are looking out for. He is the brother of Koto. What the hell is his name? Koto Tebakari and Koto Shoho. That's it. There are a lot of Kotos. But a lot of people are excited for him. He's been in the Makushita division for almost a full year now, and he has been steadily on the rise, so that's something good to look out for. I wouldn't be too afraid of some of these guys who have been in Makushita for, a year, or at the very least you can kind of see when I started tracking them color coding wise. But for a full year, because, when I made this list, I wanted to try to get an idea of, what the average arc for, a Yokozuna looks like. And even for someone like Terunofuji, we can actually look that up here, but Terunofuji wasn't, just a straight shot up the Banzuke. Let me actually open up a new sumo thing. So if you allow me to pull him up real quick. Terunofuji, he wasn't a straight shot up. He went 4 and 3 in Jonidan, 4 times. He lost in Jonidan, in his first year. And then after that, he did shoot up through Sandamne. But then it took him 2 years to get out of Makushita. So, and then even after that, he fell back down into Makushita, due to injury, it looks like. But you got to remember, even the best of the best have a rough time coming up through that 3rd division, that 2nd or that 4th division. And I can even pull up Hakuho, for example. It took him, a year from debut to get to the 4th division, then another year to make it to the 3rd division, and then he's a special case. Another year out of the 3rd division into the top division, and then whee! So you got to remember that these younger guys, if it takes them a little more than a year, you can't be worried. So even if your favorite guy stumbles and falls, one of my favorite guys being Kiho, stumbles and falls back into the 3rd division due to injury, can't fault him for that. One of my favorite guys, Kiryuko, he's very back and forth. He got the Yusho back in May, but then 2 straight 3 and 4 records. He's stumbling, but he's only been in here since, May of 2022. So a little more than a year, but still needs that time to marinate, obviously. My man Miyagi, another one of my favorites. He debuted back in September of 2022. It's been a little bit more than a year, and he is a little bit higher than where he used to be, but, not as high as I would like him to be, that kind of thing. And even, these guys like Kanzaki, who started as a Sandamne 100 Suke Dashi, started off really hot with, that 7-0 Yusho, 6-1 from the bottom of Makushita. I thought, yeah, by the end of, 2023, he's definitely going to be in mid-Judeo, maybe even top division, and he's at Makushita 25. So when you look at some of these younger guys, just be sure to keep that kind of thing in mind. But also, take a look at Tanji. Tanji, 17 years old, and he is Makushita 29 West. Who else is around that area? We have Wakatakamoto, Koto Kenryu, Tendozan, that's an interesting name. Waka Ikari, couple of guys getting pushed up. Asashinjo, veteran Kyoku Taisei. So we could possibly see, Tanji, 17 years old, versus Wakatakamoto, 31 years old. Popular name because of the Waka brand. Kyoku Taisei, former salaried wrestler that, fell due to injury and is trying to fight his way back up at 34 years old. Props to him. Tanji is half that man's age, and we could realistically see Tanji versus Kyoku Taisei. So I have my eye on Tanji. Keep an eye out for him, because at 17 years old, already halfway up into Makushita, that's kind of big. That is kind of big. Can't give up hope for Yokozuna Raiho. I don't know about him, though. I do still have him on my rookie list, but he is one of the older rookies, big air quotes, because he joined at the last possible age he could possibly join, 26 years old now after being in sumo for 2 years. And usually if you're a university man, you just fly up these ranks, but he's been struggling in the bottom of the 3rd division, so I'm not really holding out hope for him. Sorry to say. But we also do have, some hot young prospects like Haruyama, 7-0, 6-1, 6-1, debuts at the bottom of the 3rd division. If he goes 6-1 here, maybe 5-2, I would say he's on track to continue doing really well. He is out of Nihon University, so I also like to kind of take a look at these guys. Makushita 15 Sukedashi. We have a new Makushita 15 Sukedashi, Onokatsu, which we don't know anything about him, or I don't know anything about him. He is Mongolian from Nippon Sports Science University. Apparently he had to fight some, what in the world is my computer doing? Apparently he had to fight some of these big name guys that are already in judo in the top division in college, so high hopes for him. Don't know if he will, break that Haku Oho record or not, but I do have high hopes for him. And then even if we look at some of these guys we've been following in the top of the 3rd division, all of these guys did have head starts. Makushita 15, Sandamne 100, Sandamne 100, Sandamne 90. So even with these head starts, even looking at someone like Kaio, had his 6-1 off of his start, and then his only bad record was the 2-5 in May, but he's almost there. If he does poorly at this stage from Makushita 6, if he goes another 2-5, 3-4, I'll give him that, but 2-5, I'd be a little cautious about my Kaio stock. Getting into the other lower divisions like Sandamne now, you can see these guys spent almost a year in Jonidan. That's because, someone like Taniguchi, he's 18 years old. He was 16, 17 in Jonidan, finally makes his debut in Sandamne. I'll give him that leeway for starting sumo so young. You can't expect a 16-year-old to just blast up, up out of nowhere. Like Rinko, for example, one of the twins that was born on July 4th, 17 years old right now, only been in sumo for a year and a half. And again, he's back and forth. He's been in Sandamne for a little while. He hasn't made it up. He is equally as young as Tanji, 17 years old, although Tanji is a month older. I'm not sure how big of an advantage 1 month would be. But if we want to search by the birthdays too, there is another July 4th somewhere on this list. See, back in Hayashiryu, he hasn't even he hasn't really broken out of Jonidan yet. That's the man's twin brother, so their development is gonna be at different stages. As far as who I expect to win in Sandamne, you can never really know for sure, especially at this low of a rank. But take a look at Anosho, 7-0 Yusho, 7-0 Jonidan Yusho. He is hot right now. He's on fire. Looking to go 21-0. Remember, the record is 24 straight wins. I am, if I'm wrong, someone correct me, but I am pretty sure the record for consecutive wins when debuting in sumo is 24 straight. And I mean, he's on pace. He's 18 years old, didn't go to college. He's in Ajigawa stable, which I don't know who else trains in Ajigawa stable, but looking forward to seeing what Anosho can do in Sandamne. He will be fighting the likes of, Shunrai, Ieshima, some of these guys around here, some guys that have tasted Makushita division, Nobehara, Kumanoryu, Wakamiyabi. So I don't know where he's getting this power from. Maybe he was super amazing in high school, but I'm looking forward to that. And then of course in Jonidan, usually in Jonidan, it's a bunch of guys that I don't have too much information on, or guys that are super young, like Hayashiryu. Like I said, he's only 17 years old. He just really needs to start breaking out, because both of his stints in Sandamne, 2-5, 1-6. That does not look good. This is your third Basho? Well, very nice to have you here. Hope I can continue educating you on sumo, because hell, even I learn something new every day. That is another thing. Japanese names. Azuki. Daisho might have the most wins of the year. He currently has a 2-win lead, which I can pull that up in a little bit too, right after I finish up here. But like I was saying, down here in Jonidan, these guys are either like Taka Arashi, super young, 16 years old. Jonidan 8 debuted with a 3-4 in Sandamne. That's not bad for a 16-year-old. And then we have a bunch of other debuts. Ryuji, Fujiso, Keiga, Shiroma. These guys were in Jonokuchi and Low Jonidan, but I just noticed them like on the Banzuke this time around, especially Shiroma, who has had a strange arc. Injured in his debut tournament, so he had to redo his Maizumo matches, and then comes back to win the Yusho, now sitting at Jonidan 15 East. So very high likelihood that we see these 4 guys, like Ryuji versus Fujiso, or Keiga versus Shiroma. Very high likelihood we see those guys fight against each other. So looking forward to Jonidan even in that small spread. And then like I mentioned earlier, we can actually query the Banzuke. And let's see, it has to be Makuchi. It has to be like 5 Basho in January 2023. And then show total wins. And with that, we can take a look at... or 5. Here we go. So another less known award in sumo is the most wins of the year. I think there's a little bit of prize money for having the most wins for the year. Again, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but Daisho is on pace for that. 51 wins, has a 2-win leg up on Hoshoryu and Kirishima, with Wakamoto Haru 1 win behind those two. And then I don't think Kotonowaka is going to compete for most wins of the year, because despite having 2 straight years of Kachikoshi, they've been 8-7, 9-6, 8-7, 9-6, And then even after that, the next highest is Abi, who has a 6-9 in there. So Daisho, Hoshoryu, Kirishima, and Wakamoto Haru, the likely run for the most wins of the year. And Daisho, he's been putting up really amazing numbers. Barely missed out on Ozeki promotion after this 10-5. If he got that 11th win, probably would have had it. 9-6 here as well. Very disappointing outing. Nobody liked the fact that he henku'd, so not a good look for Daisho. Has to kind of reset his Ozeki run, and is now sitting at 10-5, 9-6, 10-5, 18 wins. But for the whole year, 51. And even if he doesn't get Ozeki, which he would need a 14-1, this is a good year for Daisho. One of his best years. And even though he lost that playoff back in March to Kirishima, it's still a really good year for him. Like, I hope to see it continue into next year, because Daisho did only just turn 30 today. Happy birthday, Daisho. But, he still has a lot of good years left in him. So hopefully we can see him reach Ozeki. Funny that he can get that many wins, just not 33 in a row. Yeah. Takakeisho gonna take the rope. Haters are congratulators. Whether or not he takes the rope, I have no idea. I don't know if I would want him to get it or not, to be honest. But even looking at it, he has 2 Yusho this year. and also 2 absences due to injuries. So like Takakeisho, we've seen this story before. And then of course, like I was saying, Hol Shoryu barely scraped by for that 8-7 at the previous tournament. You see, he had to win those last day 14 and 15s in a row to make it to that winning record in his debut as an Ozeki. Good outing for him. And even Kirishima, who had to bow out of this tournament early, or not even early, but he left it early for, 1 absence or 2 absences and 1 loss, comes back on day 4, basically, handicapped, but he's still in the running with that 49. Now, if he was here for those first 3 days, maybe he's at 50, maybe he's at 51, maybe he's at 52. But, you got to take that in stride. And then when I did look this up the other day, I didn't realize Wakamoto Haru was also in that running. Again, kind of that low-key Sekiwake. We were excited earlier in the year, 11-4, 10-5, comes up really short in July. Again, people disappointed when he has to Henka near the end just to get a winning record, that kind of thing. Another, I don't want to say disappointing 9-6, but another 9-6 for Wakamoto Haru. I think his chance to get Ozeki has slipped through his hands, and I don't see him getting Ozeki next year. And even if he does, it'll probably be as short-lived as Mitake Yumi's. Because we have someone like Kotonowaka on the come up. Kotonowaka is, 25 years old, 5 years Wakamoto Haru's junior. And, although Wakamoto Haru and Daisho are the same age, I think Wakamoto Haru, he's strong. He's got good fundamentals. He's good when it comes to his Yotsuzumo, but that also kind of makes him predictable. So it makes other Yotsuzumo guys, know how to beat him. You know what I mean? And then on the other coin flip, Daisho has a very high variance sumo style with that Oshizumo, because it's either you hit the throat and you win, or you miss the throat and you lose. And he's been winning a lot more than he's been losing, as we can clearly see. So whatever, role Daisho is on right now, he is going to stay on that role for his sake, I hope. Kongo said Takakeisho will be Yokozuna this year. That is true. Back in January, Kongo said Takakeisho would be Yokozuna this year, and we can't prove the man wrong. So, Takakeisho wins this Yusho 14-1. Did I cut my hair? No, it is just back in a bun. It's kind of blending into my chair here.
You can't cut it yet.
I can't cut it yet. But that is another thing we kind of can look out for, is the Ozeki runs. Daisho is 19, would need 14 wins. Wakamoto Haru is at 18, would need a clean 15-0. And then Kotonowaka is at 20, is the closest, would need 13 wins, which, I don't expect him to get a 10-win record right away, but I would be very happy to see that. I would like to see that. Love you, princess. And that is the upcoming most wins race. That's it. There are some other pieces of news that I wanted to cover before I get into Kachi Clash as well. One of the bigger pieces of news is a controversy when it comes to Oshoma. So let me pull up the Banzuke again. So let me just do this. So Oshoma, he is, whatchamacallit, where's the Banzuke button? So I've been, making jabs at him because he's been stuck at Judio 4 for almost the entire year. He has spent the entire year between Judio 3 and Judio 4. And, I thought he was just a decent sumo wrestler that is, mid at the top of Judio. But one of the issues that came up recently was hazing, bullying, to the point of injury, and forcing some of his lower division stablemates out of sumo. And his stable master is Naruto, who is a former Koto Oshu, and apparently, this is just me paraphrasing the entire thing, but Kota Oshu just doesn't do anything about it. And, we don't know anyone's mindset here, but when it gets to the point where Oshoma is purposefully attacking the injured arms of his stablemates and jumping on their chests while they're laying on the ground, that, I don't know what goes through their minds to do that in the first place. And I don't know what goes through, Kota Oshu's mind, Naruto Oyakata, to not stop that kind of thing. But I don't know if there's going to be like any kind of further investigation about it, or if there is going to be, any kind of punishment for Oshoma. But hearing that kind of thing was quite shocking, and, kind of reminds us that episode 1 of Sanctuary is real. So, don't know what is going to be happening with him. In terms of more lighthearted news, Wakatakakage is indeed coming back. He will return after recovering from that surgery, and we hope to see him do well. He will be at Makushita 6 East, so 7-0 Yusho guarantees it. A 6-1 maybe doesn't guarantee it, but I would think, depending on how the rest of the Bansuke falls, he might get the nod to get pushed back up into Judio because, people like Wakatakakage. I hope he comes back as strong as he did when he left. He was, one of the favorites to become the next Ozeki, but unfortunately couldn't get there. And if he did get there, that would have been a nice cushion, because now he probably would have been coming back at Maegashira 12 instead of Makushita 6. But either way, we will see Wakatakakage back in action, and I hope he is fully ready for it. In other injury news, Terunofuji still out due to his back injury. Apparently, he can't even perform sumo without pain, so he's still taking a break. That is Terunofuji's third straight tournament that he's going to be out now. So looks like he's doing the Hakuho thing where he takes 3 off, comes back, wins the Yusho, takes 3 off, comes back, wins the Yusho. And, I joke about that, but I do hope that whatever is wrong with his back, they can fix it, or he can come back one last good ride and retire, because, seeing 555 or starting off 1-2, you don't want to see that for your Yokozuna. So hopefully 2024, whether it's in January or March, we can see Terunofuji come back, perform strongly, and whether or not that's to get in the way of a future Yokozuna push from someone like Hoshoryu, or just, because he wants to try to perform at least one more tournament before he retires. We have seen something like this before, but it wasn't Terunofuji, it was Kakuryu, where he was doing the same thing Hakuho was, where he was just out. We have no idea when he's coming back. And then, Hakuho came back, Kakuryu was just like, nah, I can't do it. He woke up one morning and he was just like, yeah, my body won't let me, I'm sorry. And, that's respectable too. He made it to Yokozuna. He's the Yokozuna for a reason, and you can't fault him for that. Of course, Terunofuji would like to possibly push to, Yusho number 10, but if it's not in the cards, then it's not in the cards. Other injury news, Asanoyama, he injured his calf muscle last week during practice, if I remember correctly. And it's translated as a separated muscle, which I think it's just a pull or maybe even a slight tear, who knows, but I don't think the muscle separated from his bone or anything like that, but I think that's just, bad Google translation. But he injured his calf. He is not joining the first few days of the Basho and wants to rejoin it later, so hopefully we do see Asanoyama join later in the tournament. And with that, we can move it into the Kachi Clash. What? Still don't have that. So, speaking of Kachi Clash, I got almost dead last place at the last one. So, whatever I pick, do the opposite. And somehow I'm still Maegashira is 16 on this board somehow. I mean, I'm just barely outside of Judio, but geez, what hey, it's Rob. Hi, Rob. I know you're in the chat. We're at the same rank. So let's play some Kachi Clash. After everything that I just mentioned, unless you're trying to get last, don't pick Terunofuji. Maybe pick Asanoyama because he does want to be back. But in terms of, who I want to pick for a lot of these areas, I got to go Tobizado and Takanosho, so we're not even going to talk about that right now. Ozeki, you would think it's the hardest to pick because, these three Ozeki have been not the most consistent. I like Hoshoryu, and in his debut, he had to pull it back for an 8-7 after a 12-3 and an 11-4 and a 10-5, so you wouldn't have expected him to need an 8-7, but here we are. Now the question is, has Hoshoryu shaken off those jitters of being an Ozeki, or will he continue to kind of feel the pressure? Like, did he ease into his role? Did he feel the relief of the Kachikoshi, and now he's thinking like, okay, I'm an Ozeki. Kirishima has already kind of gotten past that problem because he was injured in his debut, and he's in high school terms in America, he's only a junior right now in his Ozeki tenure. Hoshoryu's a sophomore, Kirishima's a junior. Takakeisho was held back at senior year a few dozen years, but both of these guys, if they're fully healthy and their minds are fully in it, I would like to think Kirishima's mind was fully in it in this 9-6. Losing to a hot Hokuto Fuji, I won't fault him on that. Losing to an Abi who finished 9-6, that's a 50-50 matchup anyway. He's just completely outmatched by Takanosho no matter what, so that's just kryptonite right there. Another 50-50 coin flip from a Nishikigi that wasn't hot at all, so that's a match he shouldn't have dropped. Losing a match to a Wakamoto Haru that, Yotsu versus Yotsu. You like to see it. Losing a match to Daieisho, whose high variance style, gets Daieisho the wins. Beating a Takayasu that he doesn't usually beat, 5-6 on that head-to-head. And then, it's tough to decide between those two. And then there's the giant elephant waddling into the room, Takakeisho. Every single time he gets close, out for injury. Just in the past year, it's happened. Out for injury after a playoff loss and a Yusho. Back in 2021, 2 years ago, to the day. June Yusho, injury. Okay, let's go a little bit before that. May, playoff loss, injury. June Yusho, injury. So if I'm a betting man, I'm betting on Takakeisho to twist his ankle and take a couple days off in this tournament than I am betting on him to win the Yusho here. And thank you, Axel. Chris Sumo video said Takakeisho is injured. Nice. I hope that doesn't mean he's not going to be competing. No, he will be competing. Day 1 against Hokuto Fuji. Day 2 against Shodai. Shodai is the killer of dreams. He's tweaked his neck again, but not that badly. All right, so who knows? When it comes to Takakeisho, I'm not putting any kind of money on him. I am staying far away from Takakeisho. And, usually these kinds of things come back to bite me in the ass. So that means Takakeisho is going to go 15-0 and become Yokozuna. But I'm going to pick Hoshoryu again. That's who I picked last time. And I just like him more than I like Kirishima. That's really the only reason why I'm picking Hoshoryu. I don't have any kind of statistical analysis or any kind of stats in front of me. It's literally just the eye test. I'm not playing Moneyball here. I just look at the guy and I'm like, yeah, he's mean looking. I'll vote for him. Now, Sekiwaka and Komusubi, you have a lot of fantastic options here. You have Daieisho, who is, number 1 in the most wins. You'd probably be stupid to not pick him because who's to say he won't keep up that consistency? Kind of same thing with Wakamoto Haru. He's only 4 wins behind Daieisho in that race. Kotono Waka, 2 straight years of Kachikoshi. I wouldn't bet on Abi. And then Hokutofuji has been looking fantastic this past year. I feel like I shouldn't have to explain why I won't bet on Abi, because I have to say it every single time. He just does not do well when he's in the Sanyaku, ever. But Hokutofuji has been hot this year. 12-3 playoff loss. 8-7 from Maegashira 1 to finally break back into Komusubi. Like, that's good. That's really good, these past two tournaments. And even then, he lost those last two matches to narrowly avoid getting 10 wins. So, and he beat those first 3 days, he beat 3 Ozeki. Like, the record does not really reflect how strong Hokutofuji has been lately. So, if you bet on Hokutofuji, I don't blame you. But me personally, I'm going with Kotonowaka. Kotonowaka has been my boy when it comes to these younger dudes breaking into the top of the division. 25 years old, 2 straight years of Kachikoshi, whether it's an 8-7 or an 11-4. I'm going to rely on him to get that winning record. Hokutofuji is the fighting spirit. Hoshoryu has uncle pressure, I'm sure. Yeah, probably. So now, of course, the next section, Maegashira 1 through 5. The two, there are a bunch of good favorites here, but my favorite is the monkey man, Tobizaru, so I'm going to pick him no matter what. There would be a bigger even split here if Asanoyama wasn't taking out for injury, but I could still see some insane people select him anyway, because that would just be funny if he's starts off 0-4 and then comes back to finish 10-5. I cursed your Kotonowaka pick. No. It's okay. It's Kotonowaka. He'll be fine. Uda, fan favorite, but he just doesn't really do well from Maegashira 1, so I won't pick him. Takayasu, big fan favorite, but I feel like his time is nearly up. We love him, but he just hasn't been the same. This past year, he hasn't been the same. The closest he came was last year at this tournament, 12-3, but then injury. 10-5 for Maegashira 7, injury. 7-8, losing. 7-8 was due to injury, but he lost 6-7 straight matches. And then 10-5 at the last tournament, sure, but I don't know if he still has it. I would vote for him because he's everyone's teddy bear, Taka bear, but I'm not confident in it anymore. Meisei, I'm not really high on him ever. Shodai, Kongo picks Shodai. Nishikigi, his time in the sun is gone. Gonoyama, he's fresh. Gonoyama is fresh. This is a new career high for him. 25 years old, same age as Kotonowaka, but a lot less time in sumo. Tsukedashi 100 Sandamne, and then just flying up to Banzuke right now. He hasn't had a losing record since he entered Judio, or rather, since last year at this tournament. So, big stuff for him too. What are you doing over there? There are anime channels.
That's why.
But, Gonoyama has been pretty hot too. But this is Kiss of Death area where Maegashira 4, he is high enough on the Banzuke that he will only fight people above him. He will fight Takakeisho. He will fight Kirishima. He will fight Hoshoryu. And I don't know what stable he's in. Takekuma. I don't know anyone else in that stable off the top of my head. So, he will be fighting everyone above him. I think he goes 5-10, honestly. And then Midori Fuji, another fan favorite, might just barely be out of range. We can't get the on-demand stuff. And then Onosho. Onosho makes me mad because when I expect him to do well, he does poorly, and when I expect him to do poorly, he does well. I expected him to do well in July from the same rank, 6-9. I expected him to do well from Maegashira 9, 8-7. Expected him to do, anything. And it's just, I don't know. I don't like trying to support him. He makes me angry. So, I'm picking Tobizaru here. If I were a betting man, Honestly, I think I would go with Midorifuji because he might just be out of that range to fight the very top. Like Maegashira 5 West, we can even take a look at the schedule for these first few days, and he will be fighting down. He's fighting Shonan no Umi day 1, and he's fighting Nishikigi day 2, so he might just barely be out of range of the Ozeki, and I mean, he's not bad. He's young, he's strong, he's tricky. Went 10-5 from Maegashira 9 last tournament, winning, what is that, 8 straight? Really running that table. And from this same rank, earlier this year, he started off 10-0, and then he had to fight the Komusubi, the Sekiwake, and then he started losing. And he didn't even fight the Ozeki at that point. So, like, actually, there was only one Ozeki at that point, and I don't remember if he was injured or not. But you get my idea. Like, Midorifuji definitely has potential to go 10-5 from this rank. I would put money on it. But of course, I'm going Tobizaru. Takayasu, I can understand because, you know, that's everyone's boy. Did an analytical breakdown for your picks this Basho. Definitely think you have a low-end 47 win group to a 53 high-end. Hoping for 50 so I don't drop rank. I mean, let's be real. I roll the dice every single time. Stick on your Atami Fuji hype train. He went nuts in your first Basho. I've been high on Atami Fuji, and I really like him, but I have to pick Takanosho for
Let's go! My boy! My boy!
I have to pick Takanosho. So if it's not live, go to home. Go to home. And then there are channels for like 80s, 90s, 2000s, and today anime. So just hit the right button there and scroll. Or you can watch Dragon Ball. She's fiddling around with Abema. But yeah, anyway. This area, there are obvious favorites. Atami Fuji. I don't know if people like Mitake Yumi anymore. I feel like a lot of people have deflated when it comes to Mitake Yumi. He's been looking just not good at all. Again, understandable. Dad passed away in July. 9-6 from Maegashira 11 when I would have expected like a 13-2 from that rank. Like, who did he lose to? He lost to Kinbozan, who was 4-0 at the time. He lost to Atami Fuji, who was 5-1 at the time. Lost to Takayasu. He even lost to Tsurugisho, which I would not have expected that. Lost to Asanoyama and lost to Nishiki Fuji, which is like, Mitake Yumi should definitely be performing better, but he's just not. So I have no confidence in him, and I don't know if he's ever going to get it back. Hokuseiho, I think he's a safe bet. I think Hokuseiho is, you know, coming off of that 10-5. Last time he was up here, he went 5-10. But I feel like with more experience now, he's nearly reaching 1 full year of, sumo experience. I feel like, he might hit his stride. He's growing on me. He's been getting faster. That's one thing. He's been getting snappier at the Tachi-ai, and I've definitely noticed that. So I'm not low on Hokuseiho anymore. Endo, Pretty Boy fan favorite. Myogiri, Ryuden, veterans fan favorites. Kotoeko, a fiery lad. You never know if he's going to do good or not. Shonan no Umi. Shonan no Umi, I feel like, I say this too. I feel like he's underrated. He flies under the radar. He's very new to this top division. This is only his 3rd Basho here, especially after that 10-5 in July, where alongside the other debutantes, he performed very well. He's only 25 years old. Again, another one of those young guys. So this might not be a breakout Basho for him, but career high 7-8 at 25 years old. In his first year as a salaried wrestler, he does not have a losing record as a salaried wrestler until last tournament. And even then it was a 7-8. Like, if any one of those matches just barely go his way, like he loses to Onosho, who was 4-1, Takayasu, who was 4-1. He loses to, Midorifuji, who finishes 10-5. Like, if he beats out Takada Fuji, or if he, overcomes Sara no Umi at the end, that's another good winning record. But he needs to build up that experience a little bit more. And I don't know if that'll be here. Oh, this is Namek arc, isn't it? But I don't know if that'll be here or at the next tournament, but I'm looking forward to it. And then, let's see, my man that I'm picking, Takanosho, because it's my fiance's favorite. After the next Basho, she won't be my fiance anymore. She'll actually be my wife. But he's been mid. He has not looked good since May of last year.
Talking about my boy.
I'm talking about your boy.
Leave him alone.
He's been bad.
I know he has. Like, why?
Like, look at this. He loses 5 in a row to finish 6-9. My guy, what's your issue?
Like, it's kind of like with the Giants, man. The moment I become an actual fan, it just goes to shit. When I became a hardcore fan of Takanosho, he just went to shit.
He really did.
I need to stop becoming fans of people.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna die.
Stop liking Takanosho.
It's okay. I'll start liking Tobizaru.
No. Don't like Tobizaru either. Like, go be a fan of, I don't know.
Endo.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
Be a fan of Endo. All the ladies like him anyway. But Takanosho, he's been mid. I have to pick him for love, and that's all I'll say about that. But definitely the favorites here are going to be Atami Fuji, and I mean, no one else really. I think Atami Fuji is the favorite. People might be low on Takayumi. That's about it. And then the bottom here, and this is where things get crazy. 4 new debuts. The return of Tomokaze and Ichi Yamamoto. Oh, this is like episode 1 of the androids.
I'm getting distracted.
You have Dragon Ball on the screen. What am I supposed to do?
Well, what else am I supposed to watch until you start putting on sumo videos?
Well, I mean, there are other anime channels.
Nothing that I mean, I had Shinchan, but I haven't seen the newest episode.
I didn't know you watched Shinchan.
Yeah, dude.
But anyway, we have a lot of pretty strong names down here. Oho, Takada Fuji, Tamawashi after an abysmal 2-13, but I mean, he can definitely bounce back. And then again, some of these debuts, Kitano Waka, Roga, Tohakuryu, Churano Umi. Some of these debutantes I'm lower on. Like, I wouldn't put money on Churano Umi, but definitely Roga or Tohakuryu to kind of make a bigger splash. They are a little more seasoned. Tohakuryu coming out of Toyo University. Roga having been in sumo since 2018. Both of them marinated really well in judo. Like, Roga has not had a losing record, again, in almost 2 years. Look at that. Sure, it's been 4-3, 4-3, 4-3, 9. Nothing spectacular or amazing, but he's been consistent. Roga has been consistently good. Kitano Waka, 22 years old. He's also been pretty hot. He's coming out of Hakaku Stable. Doesn't say he went to college either, but I mean, this is a strong climb from Jonokuchi to debut in 4 years. A little over 4 years. So, really good climb from Kitano Waka. I don't know how he'll handle being in this new top division. He's very much a dark horse, but I might gamble on him. Same thing kind of here with Tohakuryu coming in as a Sandamne 100 Sugedashi. He spent, 2 years in judo going up and down, and that's not exactly a great sign, but to finally make his debut after a strong 10-5 and a little bit of Banzuke luck, I'm looking forward to seeing him possibly, make a splash himself. Other than that, Oho might be one of the better contested picks. 23 years old. He's already been in this top division for a long time, and even though it's been back and forth with him, by a long time I mean a little over a year and a half now at this point. Like, he has high highs, 11-4, but he also has low lows, 5-10. So, like, it's, you don't know which Oho you're gonna get. And because of that, I won't bet on him myself, but I do think he's pretty cool. Like, I would probably put money on him too. Tamawashi, he's coming off of an abysmal, I think like his actual worst tournament in his career, and we can fact check that, 3-12 in May of 2010. Let's see, 3-12 in July of 2014. Let's see, let's keep going. 4-11, September 2018. Yeah, 2-13, his career worst Basho. Like, how do you recover from that? But I mean, at such a low position on the Banzuke, you have to imagine someone of his caliber will be able to get it back and win. But at the same time, he's 38 years old, and realistically, what is the count again for his consecutive matches? Let me take a look at the image slideshow. Oh, not that one. I know it's probably on the screen for somebody. Let me check real quick. Let's see. Kaze, most wins, Ozeki watch. Here it is. So he's had 1553 matches, and he needs 1630 to get into first place consecutively. So he needs under 80 matches, which is less than a year of sumo. It's actually gonna be 5 tournaments plus a few more to get those 80 matches. So he needs to stay in sumo for 1 more year. And that is, he can be in Judio for those consecutive matches, you know? So I don't know what his mindset might be coming into this. I don't know if it'll just be to survive for 1 more year and try to slowly fall down the Banzuke until he gets that record and then can retire, or if he's going to try to, bounce back. He's still got it. He did win a Yusho like last year. Not even kidding. Just last year in September, 13-2. So I doubt it was like a just rapid degradation in his body. It might be, I would assume, like maybe he had to fight through injury. That would be my hope. But truthfully, I think it's too much of a wild card to pick Tamawashi here. Ichi Yamamoto, you never know what you're going to get with him. Tsurugisho, he has shown flashes of strength and brilliance, but for the most part, he's been mediocre, so I wouldn't vote for him. Hirado Umi, let me see Hirado Umi, 23 years old, another one of these young guys coming off of a 5-10 and a 6-9. Maybe he was still kind of hurt because you can see he bowed out of the last day of that tournament in July, came back to just a 6-9. So it's like, who can know for sure? And then, Maegashira 11 now. The last time he was this low, he went 8-7. So, he still has a lot of marinating to do himself. So, I don't know. It's really a big coin flip on who you really want to choose down here. Now, one man I haven't mentioned yet, that would be Tomokaze. Now, I mentioned him a lot in the previous tournaments, and he is someone that, he got off to a hot start. He is 28 years old, coming out of Nippon Sports Science University. When I started watching sumo, this is literally when I started watching sumo. He was Maegashira 3, got himself a Kinboshi in, the tournament that I first started watching, for real. Then he suffers a massive knee injury, and I still vividly remember it. Suffers a massive knee injury on day 2 after getting, pushed out of the ring by Koto Yuki because his knee buckled underneath him when he, landed outside of the ring. And they basically left him writhing outside of the ring for, a good 5-10 minutes before they finally pulled up the wheelchair, and it was the shitty, rickety wooden wheelchair that, they only have back there to get past safety regulations. So, Tomokaze, his return is something that I've been very much wanting for a long time, because, he has 2 Kinboshi. He has, a strong Juryo Yusho from back then. This was 4 years ago. He kind of lost 3 years of his career due to that knee injury, and I want to see him come back and be on fire. I want to see him shoot up to get back to Maegashira 3. And, it took him only 4 tournaments to get back up to the top division when re-entering Judeo, but I don't really know what to expect. Is that knee injury still going to be bothering him? Is he going to be able to rebuild that confidence? That kind of thing. So I really, really, really want to see him succeed. I want it more than anything else, but I don't actually know if it's going to happen. And that's why I'm going to pick him. I'm going to pick him for my Kachi Clash. Now, this looks like probably a terrible Kachi Clash, but this is what I'm going to go with. And don't forget to lock in your picks too. Have your computer screen do that weird thing that it just did for me. So, yeah. That is going to be it for the YouTube side at the very least, because we are going to be watching some training videos. And yeah, this is an Uda training video. This is Sadano Umi's stable. And then this one is Kotonowaka's stable. So we're going to go watch some of those stable training videos on Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, because, I don't want to tempt the YouTube gods by showing, other people's YouTube videos. So if you want to go follow me over on Twitch to keep watching, be sure to do so over there. Other than that, yeah, that will be it for the YouTube side. Thank you for joining for this preview show for the upcoming Kyushu Basho. There might be some more news coming out, and we can take a quick look at the schedule before I leave you guys. Day 1, let's start from the bottom. Kitanowaka Nishikifuji, Roga Churanoumi, Tohakuryu versus Ichi Yamamoto, Tomokaze versus Tsurugisho, Sakurafuji versus Tamawashi, a nice rivalry match to start the day. Oho versus Hiradoumi, Sadanoumi versus Kotoeko, Ryuden versus Mitakeumi, Myogiryu versus Atami Fuji, Endo versus Kinbozan, Hokuseiho versus Takanosho. Takanosho has the advantage there. Shonnan no Umi versus Midori Fuji, Onosho versus Nishikigi, Abi versus Gonoyama, Kotonowaka versus Tobizaru. Alright, I'm at least getting 1 point in my Kachi Clash. Takayasu versus Wakamotoharu, Daieisho versus Meisei, heavily favored for Daieisho. Shodai versus Hoshoryu, Ura versus Kirishima, and Takakeisho versus Hokuto Fuji, another fantastic rivalry match, 14 and 11 head to head. Then on day 2, we have Roga versus Kitanowaka, Tohakuryu versus Nishiki Fuji, Churanoumi versus Ichi Yamamoto, Takarafuji versus Tomokaze, Tsurugisho versus Tamawashi, Sadanoumi versus Oho, a lot of matches between these two. Hiradoumi versus Kotoeko, Myogiryu versus Ryuden, a dead even 6-6. Mitakeumi versus Atami Fuji, Hokuseiho versus Endo, Kinbozan versus Takanosho, Onosho versus Shonnan no Umi, Midori Fuji versus Nishikigi, Tobizaru versus Hokuto Fuji. Tobizaru has never beaten Hokuto Fuji. Daieisho versus Gonoyama, Kotonowaka versus Takayasu, Meisei versus Wakamotoharu. Wakamotoharu equally has never lost against Meisei. Takakeisho versus Shodai, advantage in the head-to-head at 2-1 ratio. It's 15-7. Ura versus Hoshoryu, dead even 3-3. And Abi versus Kirishima, an even 4-4. So look forward to those next 2 days of sumo. If you're watching here in America, the day will begin at 6 p.m. with the lowest divisions. We got to remember we have daylight savings time over here. And then, of course, top division will be starting at, 1 a.m. now? Central time, which is fantastic for me. That extra hour really makes a difference. So thank you for watching over on the YouTube side. We will see y'all tomorrow.